When you map out what was going on the search warrants, when you look through the oddities on the search warrants that are inconsistent with lone wolf activity and which have not been disclosed publicly and were not part of the preliminary hearing, you look at all this and say, no. And on that request for Tyler Robinson's cell phone, they said he was parked outside the Noble's house where they were seen on Ring doorbell cam from 12:23 to 1:20. It's interesting, it's important that was the first search warrant filed in this case on that, mentioning that Ring doorbell camera footage. That's the earliest one. And it says 12:23 that he arrived. Well, the problem with that is he can't be parked there from 12:23 to 1:20 because 3 days later, they discover camera footage that puts him in an intersection at 12:36. Well, that's a real problem because we have him parked in front of the Noble's house at 12:23. How can he also simultaneously be at an intersection several blocks over at 12:36? That doesn't work. You can't bilocate. You can't be in two places at the same time. If you're here, you can't be here. If you're here, you can't be here. Well, they never use that 12:23 time again. Instantly, every other search warrant after that says he shows up at 12:47. Well, that's awfully convenient. That's awfully convenient. The search warrants filed after the discovery of the traffic cam, those search warrants all put him there at 12:47. But the one that was filed before the traffic cam footage, putting him at 12:36 was discovered, that one had him parked at 12:27. Well, that's a really interesting discrepancy. What a coincidence. We never hear the 12:27 time ever again. And for some reason, even though we have a 12:27 time sworn to these are sworn to. These search warrants these are affidavits. Someone's swearing the information is true or they believe it to be true. We have an affidavit saying 12:27. We have a sworn affidavit saying 12:23. We have a sworn affidavit saying 12:47. And then when Agent Hull shows up in court, he doesn't use either of those times. Those are the sworn times. He gives 12:38. Where did he pull that? Did he pull that out of a hat? Did he pull it out of his rear end? Where did that time come from? You would think in a murder case like this, the most high profile, I would say, murder case of the 21st century so far. Certainly the highest profile political assassination of the 21st century and probably the highest profile political assassination since the 60s, 1960s. Going on 60 years or more. You would think they would get something as simple as what time he was spotted on camera correctly. I mean, there should be a timestamp associated with it. It shouldn't be hard to figure out. But we have 3 different times. 3 different times. And no explanation for the difference. Someone asked to see the PDF timeline. So let me pull this up here. See if I can make this larger. I might be able to make it clearer. I don't know that I can make it larger. A PDF of the timeline. For those of you who like written words rather than pictures, some of you psychos are out there. I want to see it on a map. But I'm told some of you want to see it on this. So I'm going to show it to you on this. That is not the one I want to show you. Where's the one I want to show you? This one. Again, I can make it clearer, maybe a little larger. So this is the rundown of the timeline we covered earlier in the program. Last thing we'll do here. 4 a.m., leaves the apartment between 4 and 5. 8:22 a.m., we see him driving by the doorbell camera, driving away from campus. 7 minutes later, he's driving into campus, into the parking garage. He's doing something in the parking garage for the next 12, 13, 14 minutes. We have no idea what he's doing. Is he parked in the same spot the whole time? Is he driving around parking in different spots? Is he talking to anyone? We don't know. The next time we pick him up, he's getting out of the car. It's 8:43 a.m. At some point between 8:43 and 9:25, he's wandering around in the courtyard, meeting with TPUSA representatives. They dropped that little bomb and then they never followed up on it. I would have loved the defense to jump all over that and say, what? He was who? Talking to whom? Where was he? How do you know that? Can we see the footage? Do you have eyewitness testimony? Who told you that? I mean, it'd be great to find this out. Then he walks back to his car at 9:25, exits the parking garage at 9:33. Again, what's he doing for 8 minutes? He walks back to his car, but he doesn't drive right out. Does he text someone? Does he call someone? Does he play a game of Wordle? Does he talk to anybody? Is there someone else in the parking garage? They don't tell us. They don't tell us and they don't show us. And he leaves the parking garage, drives somewhere, we're not sure where, and then walks back onto campus. My friend, you were already on campus. If you're going to be back on campus, just stay on campus. You don't have to park your car and park off campus and walk back on campus. Maybe he's cheap, maybe paying by the hour or something. I don't know. You would think if you're going to do this, like saving $8 an hour in a parking deck isn't your highest priority, but whatever. Comes back on campus, eats Chick-fil-A, goes to the wooded area, moves through the Gunther building for some reason. Have no idea why he was all the way back there. Moves through the computer science building. No idea why he was in the computer science building. Walks up the Losey Center stairs, checks out the roof. And then we estimate that he leaves campus around 11 o'clock, shortly before 11 o'clock. At 11:28, he sends a Wordle score to someone. He sends a Wordle score at 11:28. That was in a news article quoting one of his buddies. So in the midst of all this chaos, leaving campus, scoping it out, Gunther building, computer science building, Losee Center stairs, checking out the wooded area. Got to go change clothes. Oh, hang on. Send a Wordle score real quick. The word was porch. I got it in 3. Suck on those eggs. Ha, 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 ha. Now, back to some killing. I got to limp down the road 16 minutes later. I mean, I'm going to allow it. We're just telling you what they tell us. Limping down the road at 11:44, limping down the road at 11:49, crossing over the grassy knoll, walking into the tunnel at 11:54, going for some reason into the parking garage where he can be picked up on camera for no reason whatsoever when he could have easily avoided the cameras. He wasn't going the direction of the parking garage. He could have stayed on the sidewalk or stayed on the grass and avoided all cameras. This guy plotted this out so perfectly, down to the second of when he needed to lie down and take a shot. But he just didn't even realize to look up and see where the cameras were and make sure you walked around them. And there aren't that many cameras on campus, frankly. But he enters the tunnel. He enters the parking garage. He walks outside the Losee Center building at 12:02. And then we lose him for 13 minutes when he gets onto the roof. And then we lose him for 7 minutes before he starts crawling on the roof. There's a lot going on here that we don't have on camera. If I'm his defense lawyer, I'm going to make a strong argument that at some point a different person emerged on the roof and it wasn't my guy. I'm going to make a strong argument that you cannot rule that out beyond a reasonable doubt. If you have this footage and you refuse to show it, we assume it's because he's not on it or he's doing something inconsistent with his guilt. Then you got the big bang. Then he Spider-Man's off the roof. Then he runs to the wooded area, changes outfits, emerges in maroon. 12:29, he's seen sprinting through the dirt path that they did not request the cell phone data for. 12:44 to 12:48, he's hanging out in a parking lot across town for some reason. During the time he's hanging out, he maps out a route to the Quick Quack, where he shows up at 12:57 to get a clean ride, gonna spiff up the old wagon. At 1 o'clock, Lance says, man, all this went on and I was just snoozing. He wasn't playing Wordle, you see. Doesn't like the game. Too hard. Never gets below a 4. 143. He sends a message to friends on Discord about the shooting. You see the news? 433. He's alleged to have texted Lance, I love you, moi moi. At some point, he goes to Dairy Queen, allegedly. At some point, he goes to the cemetery, allegedly. At some point, he goes to the Cowboy Smokehouse, allegedly. He leaves the Cowboy Smokehouse around 9:47, allegedly. 11 o'clock, they kick off the auto text. Then you have at 12:36 the encounter with the officer near campus. You get Agent Hull saying he parked at 12:38. Daisy did a little math here. The earliest time he could have made it back from Orem if he left right before 10 o'clock was 12:47. Interesting that one of the search warrants says he rolled in at 12:47. At 1:33, according to one of the search warrant returns, we got a Google Maps route from the area near the gun location to St. George. That was at 1:33. At 1:35, the neighbor's doorbell camera captures him leaving, at least according to one of the search warrants. One of them had him leaving at 1:20 before the Google Maps location. Keep that in mind. That's a key distinction here. 7:15 a.m., he's seen at the gas station in Cedar City. And at 9:21, after a hard day of killing and not sleeping for, 29 hours or so, a good time to send another Wordle score. My man's nothing if not consistent. He's got a streak going on, ladies and gentlemen. He's not going to end his streak just because he shot Charlie Kirk. Not going to end his streak over a simple unaliving of a political figure. I'm going on like 396 straight days, ladies and gentlemen. I got to get one more in before I turn myself in later in the afternoon. When you put it all on a timeline, when you put it on a map, when you map out what was going on the search warrants, when you look through the oddities on the search warrants that are inconsistent with lone wolf activity and which have not been disclosed publicly and were not part of the preliminary hearing, you look at all this and say, no, that is not Tyler Robinson. It could not all be Tyler Robinson. Why are the search warrant times changing after we discover traffic camera?